Welcome, everybody, to our True Self Talk right after our True Self session. My name is Jona Bryndis, and together with two other energy healers, I facilitated this energy self-healing and training session with you just right now. Yeah, we come together right after this session to reflect on the session and to inquire about our personal energies, to ask questions or comment. So welcome everybody for being there. I brought my slide deck here today. This is the slide deck from the energetic tune-up this month. And the preface for this session, the way I advertised it, was preparing for the new moon energies that are coming in here 19th, 20th of February, depending on where you're at on this planet. Overcoming fear. So obviously there's quite a bit going on in our world right now, and I want to first start out with thanking you, expressing my gratitude for you to take this time in the midst of all those disasters and climate change and war and pandemic and media wars and yeah, the apocalypse is here. That's at least what all these things are suggesting. Apocalypse, I meant, sorry for my mispronunciation. As you know, English is not my first language. And the reason why I brought my slide deck is because during this session, I realized that this is a unique True Self session. It's very different from most other sessions. And I want to start out with asking you what true self even means to you. What does it even mean? I mean, we have this drawing here, this beautiful drawing. This is done by a dear friend and student, and she was in our session today as well. Thank you, Astrid, for providing this beautiful depiction of a true self, which rings very true to me. But asking you, what does true self mean to you? Is it merely, well, being truthful to yourself? Or is it something deeper? You don't have to share right away. The session went really deep. It was very, what did I call this during the session? Sixth chakra-ish. Yeah, very much here in our higher perception, in our third eye, in conflict with our third chakra, with our, well, ego self, really, if you will, but only in its lower expression. Our third chakra is the seat of our light, of our life force, if you will. But if it is unconscious, yeah, if it is on autopilot, if it is not fully internalized, then we call it ego. And you've heard me say this many times, the ego can be considered to be the fail-safe, for the unconscious individual. What does unconscious mean? Unconscious means not fully aware of its own existence, of the true nature of its own existence. And so when I am talking about connecting with our true self, I'm not really talking about connecting with your authenticity, although This does play a role in this. I'm talking about building a relationship with the true nature of who you are. And here on your screen, you see a quote from me. It says, "Without balance, we're just minds or bodies with a fragmented soul, unaware of who we truly are and what we came here for." And that state out of balance, that state in which we unaware of who we truly are and why we came here, that's what we could call the false self, or if you will, the ego self, because it comes with a lot of different falsities, yeah, like false selves. Okay, so this is a pretty hefty statement here. And as I said, this deck is from the energetic tune-up in February, because reading the energies of February, there were some really big energies in there. Yeah, you may have listened to the 20-minute energy alignment that I produce every month called Belonging. Yeah, true belonging is a choice in my heart, in knowing that arises in me, when I can love all that I am. Rejection can only resonate with me if I am not true to myself. So all this fear that we have these days about the apocalypse and the world ending and everything going down the drain is fundamentally a phenomenon, a symptom of an unconnected soul. It's unconnected. The self is not connected with the soul. The self is in an imbalanced way connected with the material, the 3D self alone. And thus it becomes fragmented. And as it becomes fragmented, it feels separated. And as it is separated, it feels and fears the unknown, the rejection. It feels it doesn't belong anywhere. And that brings in all our ego stuff, because if we feel disconnected, we must assume that the only way how to manage that, how to cope with that, is through control. Trying to accumulate lots of goods and money and anything that makes us feel safe here in 3D, distracting us from what could truly connect us. So balance is a hint here. Balance is the, well, if you will, the focus that is needed. But on a deeper level, really what it is that allows us to feel balanced, to feel that we're standing in the middle, in the center of who we truly are, is choosing what brings growth, what brings more love, what brings more creativity, more beauty into this world. In the energetic alignment, it says, I embrace the transformation of all that I thought I needed to belong to, into what brings more love, more creativity, and more beauty into this world. If it cannot transform into its higher expression, I don't want to belong to it. And this is where we're all experiencing the stress right now, because what we're seeing in this world, well, does not bring love, does not bring truth, does not bring freedom, creativity, or beauty into this world. And so we're left with a very tough choice. What do we choose? The true self is the self that consciously chooses what he or she or it belongs to. And the alignment of this belonging itself, yeah, that's something that we need to, well, figure out ourselves. What do we want to belong to? And here it says in the alignment for February, which is available free on my website or SoundCloud, I choose to belong where I came from and where I will return to. My true soul home, my true soul family, and all who have made the same choice. And as a subtitle for this resonance, I chose all pains and sicknesses of our soul come from the fear of not belonging, but the belief that we are not lovable. And this was not planned, but this was what this session was about. It was about us truly choosing what we want to belong to. And there was a beautiful, beautiful, well, I don't know, Julianne, Arnetta, you're here, you were with me in this session. A true, well, awakening happening in this session. An unveiling. Yeah,
it was very beautiful, Jona. Oh my gosh, everyone. It was there's this beautiful feeling of dropping into the body and actually feeling this feeling of connection to the true self. And I had written here, Gaia, from her I come, to her I return. But it was a feeling of being truly connected and grounded into this earth. I actually saw us in the center of the earth in Gaia's womb, and almost like coming through a birth now and arriving on the earth in our physical body as our humanness, but also seeing the connection to our spiritual, our soul self, so that we're also physical, but we're also more than our physical body, more than our mind. And it was I actually had tears coming, and the feeling of being connected to Gaia and the energy of our higher self. And then there was the feeling of I actually saw a vortex. I think Annetta described it as she saw the veil. I saw like a vortex of white in front of us, and we could actually step through. So we could step through the veil of what we're seeing in 3D, like all the pain and wars and what we've actually experiencing and looking at through the eyes of fear or our mentalness and the programs. And if we just step through, it's a totally different experience of actually
like
seeing
a portal.
the greater picture. It's like a portal, and it was right in front of us. It's like we can actually be shrouded in this veil of what, the apocalypse program.
Or any program for that matter,
Any
right?
program.
What we perceive as reality.
Yeah, and that's and as soon as we can shift into this feeling, but it's a feeling in our heart, it's a feeling of being connected. I was also feeling the need to ask for connection to the higher self, or whatever our avatar asks, to be connected to that, knowing that we're not just our mental human self, and just feeling the connection with Gaia. And it was a very beautiful, I had tears through the session from the beauty.
Some of these things that I just mentioned, they are not in the invocation for the true self, but they came in. Now, what did come in though is what is in the invocation. Now, the part that we read where we align our energy is Gaia, and is the Divine Mother and the Divine Father. And this is very important to understand. There was a deeper, if you will, like uncovering of what this actually means to us. So as you were talking about Gaia, yeah, the Mother Earth, Julian, I want to point out to all of you that in this 3D reality that we are in, the cosmological perspective of that is that we are basically standing on the Divine Mother, which is the Gaia energy, yeah, the planet, and illuminated, warmed up through the Divine Father energy, which is the sun. So from a cosmological point of view, the sun and the earth represent the Divine Mother and the Divine Father. And that makes us what?
The divine child. And that came through very strong.
Very strongly. This session was extremely spiritual, guys. Yeah, even religious. We had a little bit of a discussion in the background here as we were working with your energies, and realized that, you know, we are like all New Agers. You know, I mean, we're conscious soul selves, and we've all come from this New Age or a religious path, and we've all developed some kind of almost like a pride, you know, like a fear-based pride, you know, not wanting to look at things in a religious way because we feel let down, or we feel sent to the wrong exit by church. Yeah, guys, the message here in this session was to get over it, to get past this. There are a lot of these terms that have been misused against us, that have been hijacked, yeah, by New Age and by religion. And when we do this consciousness work, we can uncover the true meaning of these words. Yeah, what does divine child really mean? What does divine father really mean? What does Christ consciousness really mean? Christ consciousness means the physical incarnation of spirit, the divine, you know, the divine consciousness. The descended divine consciousness into the 3D. That is what Christ consciousness is. And guess who here in this 3D reality is the carrier, or are the carriers of that? Who carries Christ consciousness?
We do as people, don't we?
Yes.
Well, we have the option to.
We have the option to. Janet, you just nailed it. This session was about making a choice. This session was there to show us that for as long as we're not consciously choosing what we want to belong to, we will always be doomed to experience our life through our ego, because that's the fail-safe. That's the unconscious version of who we could be. The moment we consciously choose truth, freedom, love, and devote our life to expressing that, we are moving into our higher expression. And with that, we are representing divine consciousness here in this limited 3D dimension, if you will. It is basically Jesus energy, because Jesus, regardless of what your beliefs are, was the first divine child. It was the first incarnated 3D being that carried the conscious I am awareness. And that is what we are about to discover in ourselves. That is, yeah.
It felt like the embodying of Christ's consciousness. And without the connotations of the word, it's the feeling. I could feel that without even being religious. It's like I could see the light and the cross in the center. The cross to me doesn't have a religious connotation. I just see it as the cross, and I know that I'm centered and aligned, and I can feel my widening of my energy. So I'm rooted, I'm connected to the earth, and I'm connected to the sun, or to the masculine and feminine, and the bar going across is my widening of that energy expansion, and that
Your
is a
heart
cross.
chakra, really. It's
My heart chakra's gone wide, and I'm
feeling it in your heart, feeling it in
connected
your
to
heart.
source, connected to source and earthed in Gaia, in the physical.
So,
and that Christ consciousness, that felt like that embodiment here.
this is the part here that we need to realize. It's time to overcome all this collective programming, including the wounds of the past, including the negative connotations that some churches, some religions have like shoved down our throats. What if this doesn't have anything to do with religion or church? What if true spirituality simply means feeling spirit within myself, and not just feeling it, but also choosing it? A form of spiritual maturity that is much different from, the childlike faith, where we just, hand over all choices to God, and, soothe ourselves with God's mysterious ways. What if this is the next developmental stage of us spiritually maturing into recognizing and not just understanding it with our minds, but feeling it with our hearts, feeling it with our soul, in fact, feeling our soul and choosing it. This has nothing to do with church or religion. This is an actual experience, and this is something that we saw happening here in this session. It's very unique, and it's very beautiful to be able to witness this. But this doesn't mean that all of you had a really, Christ conscious experience, because we still have an ego, because we still have those fragments, we have those fears. But when it comes to the question, how can we overcome our fears? It has
And I would like to add something. I saw a veil. So I would say that each of us is on a different journey. For me, I could see my veil was moving a little bit and there was see-through, but I did not see everything very clearly. For some of us, might be that we see there is something there, but we cannot even see the shapes. So wherever we are, I think we should accept the journey where we are now and just be there.
You said something very important, Annette. I was about to finish the sentence and say it showed us the way. And that's exactly what you just said. It showed us the way for us, which is different, obviously, for each and every one of us. But even if we didn't like what we saw, even if we just saw or felt something blurry, the fact that we are realizing that there is something beyond the veil, if you want to say, that there is something more there. We're not just a body, maybe with a soul attachment. No, we are a soul with a body. And, well, I can't prove it to you, but this is what I see with my spiritual eyes. We all chose to come here into this physical existence as souls. What does this mean as soul? If soul is our true belonging, then what this means is that we are all spiritual beings. We're spirit beings that choose to incarnate here in 3D and have this experience. So now coming back to the question of how to overcome fear. If we understand ourselves as spirit beings that came here for a certain purpose, we can call this karma, if you will. We chose here to do this so that we could mature so that we could learn maybe something or learn to let go of something. And right now, if I look at the majority of souls on this planet, there is an estimate of about 15% of us being aware that we are souls with a body, but only like about 2% of us who can consciously choose that, who can say, yes, and I want it this way, without going into the other extreme. The other extreme being, you know, oh, I just want to be a soul. I just want to like hang out with spirits and don't want to have anything to do with 3D. That's not balanced, guys. You chose here. You chose to come here. So there is purpose. There is meaning in that. But for us to truly understand the meaning of that, we have to first clarify who we truly are, where we came from, and where we will return. And when that becomes clear to us, then we can resolve the problems here. If the true purpose of us being here is to learn to overcome something, maybe it is the very purpose to overcome fear. Yeah, fear not. How many times does it say that in the Bible and other scriptures? Fear not. To let go of the attachment to the 3D. And I want to add another aspect to that, recognizing that all other true selves, yeah, those who have consciously chosen that as well and know it, that we are ultimately all one. And that this is where we're going. This is where we're all going here as humans. It connects us. It connects me with you, with each and every one of you, no matter what part of your path you are on. It's irrelevant. It is a choice that we make in our heart. We call this internalize. So it's this internalization of your higher power, of your true self. That's what a true self is. Someone who's internalized it, who's felt it through their own free thinking, their own free insight, their own free feeling through their heart, and through their own ability to discern one from the other. That comes in for us through what we in spiritual talk and spiritual lingo call Christ consciousness. It has nothing to do with any religion, because even if you strictly go by the term, Christ came here for all of us, for everyone, regardless of the tribal inheritance, of the race, of the culture, of the tradition, of the gender, the location. Christ consciousness, yeah, choosing to be a true self, is available to each and every one of us. And that was
Hey,
the main
Jona.
session. Hi.
Hi.
Yes, let me hear
Hey.
it.
Yeah, so I got the message over and over again, like the power was within you all along. I think it's a quote from The Wizard of Oz, but it just kept coming in over and over again, like the power was within you all along. Like you just now began to see it. And also just got the feeling of, creating something new means everything has to become new.
Well, it inevitably becomes new, because if you understand yourself differently, Cheryl, you automatically approach things differently. It's totally okay. It's this pioneer energy that you saw here. This like really, or if you want to say it in spiritual lingo, inspiration. Yeah, it's very creative. By the way, this new moon, as you know, as difficult as it may be for the collective, for those of us who understand the energy that is coming in, it is an extremely fortunate energy that can lead to, I want to say, almost miraculous manifestation. Because if you get this, that, you know, this is about choosing, and whatever you choose now, yeah, creates sort of this new you, yeah, and let go of all the old beliefs and all the patterns and all the mindsets, even including, yeah, the mindsets about the restriction of religion and spirituality. Yeah, all that needs to be let go of, and it's all just about you feeling truth in your heart, having a freedom in your mind, and recognizing, seeing the light through within that power, yeah, that power of choice that has always been within you. The question is, Cheryl, what is it that you need to let go of to basically reinvent yourself? Let me look at my protocol here. What is it that you need to let go of? What do you think? Go into your spiritual thinking, into the power has been within you all along. What does that tell you? What were the things that you chose in your life that were based on not believing that you have the power? What are the consequences of you truly choosing it?
For me, Jona, I think it was, you know, doing so much research and reading books and, you know, trying to reach out there for something that was really just inside of me. You know, I think that was probably the biggest message, and I totally understand it. But I don't know if I would have understood it 5 years ago.
Probably not. That's why it's really important to be humble, you know, about where we're at. Yeah, we all have a path, and you know, it's like we couldn't know this before. Yeah, that's why it's also advisable not to beat ourselves up, yeah, for not understanding things. It just means that you're not fully understanding it yet, okay, because there's maybe some puzzle pieces missing. Sometimes it's just a matter of like really letting go. Some people now in this year will literally make a 180 turn in their life. This is coming in for all of us, guys, not just for us here who participated in the session. But it is the power of actually taking that time and allocating this and going deep within, okay, that can show us the way, that can make it easier for us, that can remind us what it means to align ourselves to growth, to beauty, to love, and express these things regardless. What if the world goes under tomorrow? Are you going to stop being kind? Are you going to stop loving? Are you going to stop growing? It's a mental construct, guys. The fear is a mental construct. And the true self internalizes that, realizes that it is in the choice of what I am aligning myself to, what I am ingesting, the thoughts that I allow to come in, the thoughts that I express, the emotions that I express, all the expressions, all the little choices here and there, are they based on love or are they based on fear? Are they based on your ego or your true self? So today's session was a reminder of this, guys. Really, really beautiful.
That feeling, Jona, of being in the heart is how we feel truth, because we can feel it. Yes. In that state, we can actually feel what is true to us, and that helps us actually recognize when we can connect to that truth, then we can trust that we can push through fear or possibly push through our self-limitations that come from our mind and our thoughts, because truth is a feeling. The thoughts from our mind that give us the limitations and the fears, that's what we can recognize. That's the
When they're
discern.
fragmented, yes, when they're fragmented, we cannot feel our thoughts. Okay, so this is the problem. Yeah, if all of you guys knew what it actually is, what the energy is that you're putting out there with your thoughts, you'd be in terror. I have a funny story to say. This is with my 5-year-old, at the time, 5-year-old son. When I told him, be careful with what you're thinking and what you are allowing yourself to say. Because all your thoughts have power. They have power to make things real. And he looked at me and he's like, all my thoughts? And I'm like, yes, all your thoughts. And he started to cry. He started to cry out of fear because he knew, even as just a 5-year-old, that a lot of his thoughts weren't thoughts that are based on love. The path, guys, for all of us to find truth, and it actually says this in the invocation at the very end. I am light. I am the way. I am truth. Recognize that? These 3 elements, this trifecta, if you will, this divine trinity. Light as the symbol for freedom, yeah? Because it enlightens things. This means we have a freedom to actually see it clearly and to choose freely. Choose. Because without freedom of thinking, there cannot be truth. We just experienced this the last 3 years, yeah? We experienced censorship and a confrontation with untruth. How that restricted people's mindsets and everything around it. Everything, even their loved ones, letting down their loved ones, turning into ugly monsters. Without freedom, there cannot be truth. And the way is love. Our job here as humans is to figure this out, guys. How we can reach higher consciousness through aligning ourselves to freedom, truth, and love. So that we can discern, so that we know better what we're aligning ourselves to, and so that we more consciously choose what we're embodying here. Somebody said they saw lots of overlay. Yes, I did too, because it's very complex. Christ consciousness is not just recognizing freedom, love, and truth, and that we need them and that this is what we all want. No, it's more. It entails all the ways of understanding what we're perceiving, commanding our ways of thinking, commanding our ways of feeling, commanding our ways of connecting, of expressing and doing, and ultimately all our relationships, all our interactions with the world. Understanding the power that we carry in us all along, Cheryl. To the point where we recognize that we carry spirit, that we carry divine consciousness in us. This co-creative power that is expressed through all these different ways, perceiving, of thinking, expressing, doing, aligning. Yes, very complex. You don't need to understand this. It's irrelevant. What's important is what we can feel. And the energy of February, so these slides, I created them in January. there's also a time-sensitive component to this here. I pick important dates, by the way. I don't know if you've all seen this. There is my website here that has the energy calendar, which is online and interactive now. Have you guys all seen this? If you go to my website and you click to energy calendar, you have the energetic quality day by day. Yeah, you're familiar with it. And if you click on those little black dots, yeah, they're radiating out energy. Those are important dates. You can see what the meaning is of these days. The upcoming new moon here, guys, comes in with very, very difficult energies. We already know it. Very fuzzy, very heady. And with all the stuff that is going on in the world right now, you will feel a lot of rage. You will feel a lot of these wounds from the past, perhaps even also the wounds that you have perceived through your religion. Yeah, you may even feel something like anger towards God. It's possible. This is the quality of February is that way, guys. Yeah, I'm not making this up. And when you look at, you know, these things that are coming in here, yeah, there's a tension building, a correction phase until March 23. So actually the 23rd, 24th of March. This is now about letting go of old beliefs and old systems, old power structures, old mindsets. You have all these things that we, well, unconsciously believed in. This is the time of awakening. That is what true awakening is. Yeah, the veil lifting, and you don't have to understand it all. You just need to know that there is more there, that you have the power to heal that yourself. You know this. I stand for self-healing. I stand for consciousness work. Yeah, and my tips here at the end of January was to do inner child work, to do lots of stretching, detoxing, and to start something new, because that's what the energy is all about. So if we want to align ourselves to it, you know, challenge your ego. Every single study that has ever been done on what makes people happy and fulfilled brought the same result. It's constant but moderate adversity or challenge. In other words, challenge your ego, guys. Challenge your fear, challenge your anger, challenge your pain, your shame, your guilt, challenge it so that you can find the higher expression in it. Yeah, here, a little better. Truth is what is being revealed right now. Truth is the distinctive, it's the portal between ego and true self. Yeah? There's a long way and a short way. We'll all arrive eventually in our divine consciousness. Yeah? Long way is through endless repetition of ego stuff, life after life. The short way is to consciously choose a path that aligns you to your true self, and with it, your higher consciousness. And this is here for the active self-healers among you, you know, what these resonances are that are needed to transcend these things. What do we need to overcome fear? We need to make a stance. We need to be grounded. We need to stop coping. Stop telling yourself that the way your life is, yeah, and all your misery and all that, yeah, needs to be that way. It doesn't. And just because you have done it like that in the past doesn't mean you have to do it in the future. Consciously choosing means that you know that you can overcome this. Anita, Julian, do you want to make any closing comments here for the video, for the comprehensiveness of all of this?
I was going to say that we approach things with the curiosity of a child, like remember that divine child in us, that we can feel through things like with adventure. That helps us to step through fear, like just do it anyway, feeling that and doing what we love. And we can feel what we love in our hearts. We can feel what
Yes.
feels like lovingness, and that's the signal right there. It feels loving. It feels good, and that helps let go of the limitations, because there is fear, a little bit of fear there, but we can go, okay, fear, you get to exist, but I don't have to let that lock me out of what I want to do.
Yeah,
So
lock you out, or make you feel lonely, make you feel separated, because that is the core of the ego. The core of the ego is the separation from the divine consciousness, and therefore it feels alone and rejected.
And it feels much better to be feeling that curiosity and that, oh, what if, and just stepping through into that feeling of that adventurous spirit of the child that doesn't know what's going to be on the other side or what's going to happen, but it's exciting, and actually feeling that alignment and actually recognizing
and choosing it regardless.
Choosing it regardless, yeah.
Regardless. Consciously choosing to express love, to express growth, to express creativity, to express the new, if you will. Consciously choosing to bring beauty into this world.
That's the part of the thing about loving, being human, with like our soul self, with our human being here. Just actually the love of the adventure.
Without all the new agey stuff, without all the fluffy stuff.
Yeah, without that, because we have to recognize that there's what comes forward, what comes through, and then choosing it anyway, like you said. It's like, that's the courage.
And when we align ourselves to that, we will feel support. We will feel support through higher power and everyone who has chosen the same path. All true selves that are there. So with this, I want to thank all of you, especially Julianne, Aneta. Thank you for co-facilitating the session with me. There was lots of people there. But today was easy to hold the field because it was so strong. It so vibrated through all of us that there wasn't much that we needed to do to hold it together. It was very, very powerful. And lots of thanks to all of you who chose to be here, who consciously chose to build this relationship with your true self and to become a true self. This is it, guys. Stay conscious. See you again next week or next month, depending on when you choose to show up.